All right, so for today's off-campus learning day, we're going to look at solving triangles when they're not right triangles. This video will be short. Make sure you watch the whole thing. Feel free to pause throughout the video if you need to, or rewind to watch something again. But let's just dive straight in. So the concept that we're going to talk about here is called the law of sines and law of cosines, and you can use these two formulas to solve triangles that are not a right triangle. The key is to knowing when to use which. Okay, so our first note here says we are going to use the law of sines when you are given either one second, that pen's not working, there we go, two angles or three angles. Okay, so if we have a triangle and they give you two or three of the angles, then you're probably going to use law of sines to solve. Now, what is law of sines? Here's the formula. Remember, lowercase letters are sides, capital letters are angles. The formula is side A divided by the sine of angle A should equal to side B divided by the sine of angle B, which should also equal side C over sine of angle C. As you can see, it's just kind of like a ratio. Side A divided by sine of A should equal side B divided by sine of B, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we will look at example 1 here that uses the law of sines, because if you can see, we are given angle 19 degrees, angle 110, and only one side. This is clearly not a right angle, or excuse me, not a right triangle, because we know that this angle here is 51, so we do not have a 90-degree angle. So we know angle A is 110, we know angle B is 19, we know angle C is 51, and we know that side A is 14. So we wrote down all of our given, and now we have to use the law of sines. So let's set up our proportion. Here's the key. You have to use one of these three ratios up here at the top. One of these three has to already be complete in the problem for this to work. If we look at our triangle here, you can see that angle A and side A makes a complete ratio. So we can say side A divided by the sine of angle A should be equal to side B divided by the sine of angle B. And once you have a ratio like this, two proportions set equal to each other, we can just cross multiply. So we are going to get side B times the sine of 110 is equal to whatever 14 times the sine of 19 is. I don't have a calculator to show you on the screen, but when I type 14 times the sine of 19 in my calculator, I get 4.56. And when I type sine of 110 in my calculator, I get 0.94. So technically I have 0.94b equals 4.56. We divide both sides by 0.94. 4.56 divided by 0.94 in my calculator gives me 4.85 as my answer. So we know that side B is 4.85. And now we're just one side away. Notice you cannot use Pythagorean theorem to find side C because this is not a right triangle. So we'll just set up another ratio. All right, change my pen color to red, and I'll do my work on top of the, well, no, because we have to leave room for notes. I'll just squeeze my work in over here to the left. We can just attach it to this ratio and say that little c is going to be equal to the sine of angle C. Okay, we can cross multiply once again, same exact steps, we're just finding little c this time. So when I type in my calculator sine of 110, we already know that's 0.94, so 0.94c equals whatever 14 times sine of 51 is, which is 10.88. And when we divide both sides by 0.94, we get little c to equal 11.57. So, a little recap. How do you know when to use law of sines? It's when you see a triangle that is not a right triangle, and you have been given two angles. Here's the first one we were given, there's the second one we were given, and we were able to fill in the third. Okay, so that is the law of sines. Again, whenever the directions say solve a triangle, what does it mean? It means find all the missing sides, find all the missing angles. Okay, so that's number one, halfway through with this video. Number two is the law of cosines. Law of cosines occurs when you are given 0 angles or 1 angle. Okay, and this formula is a little more complex. I'm going to give you 3 different formulas that are all the same thing, but it starts with a different side. Okay, you'll see what I mean here. So again, lowercase letters are sides. Here's the formula. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of a. Okay, that's the formula if we're looking for angle A or side A. If we're looking for angle B or side B, the B comes out here, and then the A takes its spot inside. Minus 2ac cosine of B. Or lastly, if we're looking for C, C comes out here, and A and B are inside. 2ab cosine of C. These are the 3 different variations of the law of cosines. It's all the same formula, just sometimes you're looking for A, sometimes you're looking for B, sometimes you're looking for C. Okay? Let's put that into practice to solve number 2 here. I'm going to zoom out. Okay? So, always list what's given first. We know that angle N is 25. We know that side M is 8, little m is 8, and little p is 11. So this time we have 2 sides, and we have to find 2 angles and another side. Can we use Pythagorean theorem to find this side? The answer is no, because it is not a right triangle. So what we're going to have to do is set up 2 different law of cosines equations. First, let's find our last side. Let's find little n. So we are looking for little n. So if that's what we're looking for, then we are going to have whatever you're looking for on the outside. So then we will have inside, and notice I'm just, look up top here where the stars are going. I'm using this formula as my guide. N squared equals my 2 other sides, so m squared plus p squared minus 2mp cosine of what we are looking for, little n. Here's the good news. We know what m is and what p is and what angle n is. So we can fill in everything on the right side. Check this out. We don't know n, but we know what m is. M is 8, so what's 8 squared? That's 64. Plus, we know what lowercase p is. That's 11, so we'll say 121 minus 2 times mp. Well, m is 8 and p is 11, so that's 2 times 88. And then cosine of n. We know what n is, cosine of 25. So check this out, gang. I can type this entire thing in my calculator. Sounds complex, but the calculator is going to do all the work. Okay, so let me type this in, and if you're doing this while you're watching, type 64 plus 121 minus 2 parentheses 88 close parentheses cosine 25, and then push enter, and I got, whoops, don't want to write that in yellow, I got 25.49. Now all we do, look, square root, and we know what side n is. It's about 5. Let me type this in my calculator to make sure. It's about 5.05. So that is what little n is, 5.05. Okay, so that's the law of cosines defined as side. But now we got 2 angles left to find. So we're going to use the same formula, but it's going to have 1 extra step. Alright, so I am actually going to erase this. So if you need to pause and jot this work down, you can. I'm actually going to erase this work so I can solve for my side. So feel free to pause if you still need this work. I'm sitting here at home while I'm doing this. I'm watching football. My Titans won today. So it's a good day. It is a good day. Alright. So let's solve for these last two missing sides. Okay? We need capital M. So, what do you think I'm going to start with? Probably going to start with lowercase m. Okay, I'm going to use that formula. M squared equals n squared plus p squared minus 2np times the cosine of capital M, which remember, that's what we're looking for. We had to use m out front to get the m back here. And now once again, here's the good news. We can fill in everything on this formula except for that capital M. We know everything. We know little m is 8. So what is 8 squared? That's 64. We know that little n is about 5. Okay, so we'll just round it to 5 and say that's about 25. We'll be nice. We know that capital P is 11, so we'll say that's 121. Okay, we know that n and p are 5 and 11, so this is 2 times 55 times the cosine of m. So look, we know everything but cosine of m. So now it's just a matter of moving everything to one side of the equation. We're going to subtract 25, we're going to subtract 121, we're going to divide by negative 2 times 55. So literally in my calculator right now, I'm typing 64 minus 25 minus 121, which is negative 82. Then I'm going to divide that by negative 110. That's just negative 2 times 55, negative 110. And so I literally get this. I get 0.745 equals cosine of m. Well, if you remember from our mini lesson the other day, how do you find angles using your calculator? You use the inverse button. So I bet you if we type inverse cosine of 0.745, we will get our answer. And when I type that in my calculator, I get 42 degrees. So capital M is 42 degrees. And once we have two angles, we can find the third. 180 minus 42 minus 25 equals 113, and we have solved this triangle. So mini 30-second recap, and this video is complete. Law of sines is right here. It is a ratio. It's the easy one for sure. Okay, you just set them up and you cross multiply to find whatever's missing. Law of cosines is right there in the green. It's a little more complex. I just want to point one thing out to you. The side that's out front matches the angle at the back. That's the key. So if you're looking for side A, start with it. If you're looking for angle A, start with it as well. But watch this video again if you need to see me again work through the formulas. But your assignment is to finish number 3 and number 4 on this page, and then also see the worksheet on Academy Central Off-Campus Learning Day special module. It walks you through instructions for what to do. Good luck. Send me a message if you need help. Come to class with questions. Thanks for watching.